All right, here we go. Episode 3. Welcome, everybody, to Inside Futsal. And were you not entertained with today's games? Group B, Match Day 1 at the UEFA Futsal Euro 2022. And joining me, my good friend, special guest, one of the most well known personalities in world futsal, Damon Shaw, all the way live from England. Damon, welcome to the show. How have you been, my friend?
I've been good. Lots going on. Lots of changes in my life at the minute with leaving Poland over Christmas, as you well know. But yeah, I'm good. I started the new year with COVID, but I think a lot of people in the same boat. So yeah, hoping now to really kick on with 2022 and see what comes. And the Euro's a great sort of distraction and a motivator for the rest of the year. So yeah, really looking forward to this.
Hey, well, I'm really glad that you're feeling better. I mean, everybody's been getting COVID. I mean, I came down with it. My family came down with it. It's just this Omicron. It's almost sounds like a transformer. I can never pronounce it right, so I'm going to call it a
Yeah.
Decepticon, and it's infecting everyone. Sadly, it has resulted in no fans here at Euro 2022. But have you noticed that they have these? I don't know if they're plastic or cardboard. They have the artificial fans in the first 10 rows. I got to be honest, they look pretty kind of cool. What's your take on watching the games and seeing the artificial fans in the stands?
I mean, you can tell there's no fans because there's no atmosphere. I don't know if there's music in the halls like in the World Cup. I don't think there is. Um, I mean, from a TV point of view, it doesn't take much away without the fans. You're watching the game, you're watching the action, but it really will affect. It'll affect the players. I remember being in Lithuania on the pitch, and it wasn't behind closed doors, but it was the attendances were low. So you're there, and it's quite an empty stadium, and it doesn't feel the same. It's almost it's empty, and you want to play in front of people, and the players will be suffering the most with the lack of fans.
How did you feel watching the Netherlands game yesterday when they went up and scored those three quick goals in the second half? All I could think about, and some of them were superb goals, all I could think about was a Ziggo Arena in Amsterdam full
Mm,
of crazy orange clad Dutch supporters and just how everyone's been robbed of it because the tournament preparations from the KNVB and UEFA
yep.
has been world class. I mean, absolute world class. The marketing, whoever's doing the videos for the organization, all these previews and kind of what do they call it? The come see the artists, perform out there. I
Yep.
love it. Everything they've done has been top, and it's like a borderline crime that no fans have been able to be there so far, and won't at least till the 25th. But hopefully, the Dutch government at least allows 50%
Mm.
restriction come after that, so people can get a real taste of futsal, and maybe even the Dutch after yesterday's win will be able to kind of make the knockout stage. It was a big surprise out there. What was your take on that first day of action?
Oh, it was really nice to see Holland winning because no, historically the Eastern European teams have, I won't say dominated because then you've got Spain, Portugal, Italy slightly above, but the next sort of level it seems to be all the Eastern European teams, the Serbia, Slovenia, even Russia obviously in that group, but it's nice to see Netherlands overcoming. Um, Wait, who did they play? I watched it, but
They played the Ukraine last night.
yeah, of course, yeah. Obviously, Ukraine, one of the giants of the game. But for me, it was nice to see Netherlands and Portugal as well. But I mean, that was kind of expected. But it was nice to see Netherlands get the win at home in front of their own fans, not actual fans. But yeah, it was really nice to see, and I don't think anyone expected it, even though they're the hosts, and obviously there's a bit more in it for them. Yeah, it was really good to see. They played so well. That last goal, what a goal that was! Potential for
Oh,
goal of the tournament already, and yeah, I really just hope they get through to the next round and the fans are allowed in because that will be something to see. Like you said, the marketing has been really good for this tournament. Um, like I said, in Lithuania, it wasn't because of COVID, because of a lot of factors. The numbers weren't there. It was only 50% allowed anyway. But I had a good feeling from seeing from the launch of the tournament through to the launch of the ticket sales. The KNVB they had it right, and it's such a shame not to see the results of all that marketing. It might not have had people in. It might not have been a sellout every game, but the signs were there for it to be a really big, important tournament in the history of futsal.
Yeah, and I hope that UEFA, understands what's happened, because the KNVB put their monies where their money where their mouths were, and not a lot of FAs do that, but the KNVB did, and everyone behind that's been super receptive, very responsive, very very helpful, and I want to see them rewarded with another tournament. I don't know if maybe obviously they're not going to get the next Euro, but perhaps maybe a UEFA Champions League Final Four in Amsterdam. I would fly over there in a heartbeat to watch that. And well, you guys just take the channel underneath over there to go over. So I'm a little
we can fly for £20 over to Holland, and I really hope they lift the restrictions and I can get there for the knockout stage at least.
Yeah, no, I hope you're there. I was supposed to go, but it was a last minute thing with the COVID restrictions, and it was just not to be. But let's hope that things work out well, so that we get to go to future tournaments, including the Women's Futsal Euro over in Portugal in March. I'm hoping to fly over for that. But instead of looking at the future, let's look at the present. And today, we're talking goals. We're talking great goals. These two games were easily the best games I've seen in months out there. It was fantastic. Let's start off with Kazakhstan versus Slovenia. Everybody expecting Kazakhstan to kind of walk all over Slovenia. But, it didn't work out that way. I mean, Slovenia got on the board first, and Totoskovic scored, Hagita coming out, keeping his head down, getting the ball stripped, Totoskovic making no mistake out there, and then seeing the subsequent red card with, once I can barely pronounce his name. It's Akbalakov. I like it. So he gets the red. Did you see the brutal collision between him and the Slovenian keeper?
No, I didn't. That was a match because I was traveling back today, so I didn't get to see all that game all the way through. I've seen the goals and caught up a little bit, but no, I didn't see that. It's one game I need to catch up on, because what a game! I've heard people on social media saying game of the tournament. I love watching Douglas play. So that's
we're definitely going to talk Douglas for sure.
Yeah.
He's just phenomenal, highly underrated. Doesn't get as much love and recognition as he should. I think he's still only 33, so I think he has another cycle after this. Definitely one more World Cup in him. But honestly, this game, I'm watching it in the first half, and Slovenia could have been up by 3. Like, it was just insane. Within the first, 13 minutes of the game, they were, just dominating for the most part. There was one play in particular from the corner. I think his name was Federsik. He ended up scoring a goal later on, but there was a corner that just went right to him, far post, and it just hit him off the chest, off the bar. And I'm sitting there going, a fire hydrant could have sat there and bounced off and scored that goal. It absolutely killed me. But what was interesting too, I'm not sure if you found out, but the head coach of Kazakhstan was out of the match. I think it was due to COVID. So Kaká was out. Let me ask you, I mean, you've coached at a World Cup. What is it when something like that kind of happens out there, in an emergency, and you take out, the number one chief, your general?
It can go both ways. It really can. It can fire up the team. It really can. It depends on what the group is like. If the group's together, I think if let's look at Finland as an example. I think if they were without Mico, then I think they would raise their level for him. So I don't know what other teams it might. I don't want to say a team that might lose something because they're losing the coach. I don't know, but as a coach, in futsal you're involved. You're almost like pulling strings here and there, and you're involved every second of the game. So it can be hard if you're not there. It can. I think I've only missed a couple of games of my teams and had to sort of direct from afar. But it depends on how well trained they are, how well organised, and sort of the leaders in the team as well. So has it had an effect on Kazakhstan? Maybe they've drawn a game that I think most people were expecting them to win. So It could have happened that Kaká was instrumental, and I mean, certainly tactically, he's a great coach. So yeah, he might have changed things up. He might have seen how Slovenia were playing and changed things up and affected the game. So you'll never know. It's unfortunate he's missed the game, but on the other hand, the group's all square still. So they've not.
Yeah, I mean,
not lost anything.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to come back and do some damage out there. Have you ever watched the highlights? Did you see any of the highlights of during halftime? So as soon as the whistle blows, it gets quiet. There's no halftime show, and they just go through all the clips and highlights of the half, but they slow them down, and you can hear the
I noticed
squeak.
that.
Yeah, so they slow them down, but you hear the squeaking of the shoe. And there was one play where they did it. Douglas Jr. actually scored off that corner, that absolute golazo that he cracked. Beautiful, beautiful goal. The
It
guys
happens too much. Volleys off corners happen too much. I don't understand it. It's like every game there's a volley from a corner. I love it because
I'm not complaining at all. Are you kidding me?
They're great goals, but I can't get my head around how often it happens.
Yeah, it's absolute crazy. And I think today there was like 3 of them in the 2 games alone. But when they were slowing down the highlights, you could hear the squeaking, but it was so slow and it sounded. I got to be honest, the only way I can really describe it, it sounded like in a moment of impending doom in a Ridley Scott horror film where like some alien or monster's about to come and like swallow a human. And I'm sitting there listening to this, just laughing and saying the highlights. They could, speed them up a little bit, but it's a good job in the production because, people who aren't able to actually watch the full games due to work or whatever it is are getting an opportunity to catch at least 3-4 minutes of the match out there. But honestly, the rest of this game, in particular, the second half was pretty solid. I mean, just taking a look at the notes here, there was, I'm going to say his name, Federic or Federic. I'm going to go Federic. That's it. If he wants to come on the show and correct me, he can do it. But he got that left-footed cracker to put Slovenia up 2-1 again. And it was just fantastic. And they had this great camera angle. Speaking of, the production team, are you enjoying the overhead cam footage? Like when they actually show the plays or they show the highlights, instead of the sideline view, they have the camera turning in a 360 motion, and you actually get to see the play from up top. Is that something that you enjoy as a coach and tactician, or as a fan?
Definitely, because as a coach, everything's on the tactics board, right? So everything you do is from the top down. So yeah, when I'm analyzing games and preparing plays, then I tend to use that top down view. So it's great to see. You can see the shape of the teams. You can see the setups. You can tactically it's a great view, really is. So yeah, the production, everything seems to be going in the right direction. They need a show on at halftime then, like this maybe.
I would love to see a halftime show. I would love to see a pregame show. I'd love to see a postgame show, just like you do with football, just like you do with the NFL. Every other sport has it. It's time that we do it. Hey, if they want to bring us on board, I'd be all in because we got to promote the game, but we have to build the superstars as well. I mean, we're talking about Douglas Jr. and Tainan, and 90% of people who just casually watch futsal don't even really recognize these names until they watch a World Cup. And that's something that we need to really build. And I think that's where you build it, is in the pregame show, the halftime show, and of course the postgame, celebrating the accolades of what they did.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to go that way eventually, but I'm sure they have the resources and the tech and everything to do it now. But it's a shame it's not. But that said, it tends to be the TV companies that do this thing, and yeah, I guess we're some way away from TV companies really. I mean, it might be happening in Spain as far as we know, that they're doing the pre-game and post-game. Certainly for the Spain games, I'm sure they'll have the studio open and discussions around it.
And Brazil has it as well. I've seen some pretty cool ones in Brazil, and the guys are so animated and so wild out there. I mean, those voices those guys have, they could read the menu from a Chinese restaurant and make it sound super exciting. So imagine with them, in a futsal show doing something out there. But you know what? I'm enjoying the games even without it. The commentary's been great. Props to Chris Sharples. Another British guy did a great job with the World Cup, doing a good job here. And there's another man, I'm trying to remember his name. Chris told me yesterday when I messaged him, but they're doing a solid job at calling the action. But you know what? Instead of talking about them calling the action, let's get back down to business. I mean, we got, the 2-2. Tainan comes in, does the groundwork. Orzov puts in the goal. But then Kazakhstan goes up, 3-2. And it was just something else. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was Che. Ceh. I mean, I could never pronounce it looking at his jersey. He had all these funky symbols. So he put Slovenia up, and then Teo Turk scored. To me, it's the best goal of the tournament so far. They go up, 4-2. It was just this thing where they nutmeg the defender and then a toe poke. It was delicious. I mean, if you're watching this right now and you didn't see this goal, as soon as this show's done, go to the highlights, check it out. You're going to be blown away. It was just a beautiful masterclass. And that was it. But, Kazakhstan, there's a reason why they were semifinalists at the World Cup. We had Tokayev with a beauty behind the back. It was a nice, a back heel flick out there. That was just one of those vintage futsal goals. And then, of course, your man, Damon, Douglas Jr., with a bullet that deflected in. The thing that I was most intrigued about when this game ended 4-4 was that there was 90 combined attempts on net. You, besides just being a coach, you are a high-performance analyst. You love stats. You love that stuff. Tell us what it means to have 90 combined attempts in a futsal match between two teams.
It can be an indication of a lower quality, but obviously that's not the case in this tournament. And it's the beauty of the game. We can have so many shots, and 4-4 is quite a high scoring game. I guess nowadays in futsal, it's the goals are getting lower and lower as the game develops, I think, and defenses get stronger and goalkeepers get better. So yeah, you can get that many shots in a casual game in let's say in England, in some of our leagues, but it's an indication of a lower quality, five-a-side defending sort of thing. But to get that in a Euro or an international match, it's more of a sign of good quality attacking, and that's, I think, futsal was going maybe some way negatively, and words coming out of Spain and people tweeting in Spain saying futsal's getting too defensive, not as many goals as there used to be, and wanting the rules changing. But to see this now in the Euro, a nice 4-4 with lots of chances, lots of opportunities, hopefully that argument will go away a little bit, because I don't really buy it. I think, maybe defenses were getting better, but hopefully now we're seeing the attacking sort of counteracting what, the defenses were getting better. Now the attacking's having to improve naturally. So as a whole, hopefully the game's getting better.
Now, overall, what were your thoughts with Slovenia? I know you didn't get to catch, most of the early part of the match out there, but what was your initial thoughts with Slovenia really taking it to the World Cup semifinalists?
Slovenia is a team that's been around and thereabouts. Well, one of my first international experiences was in Slovenia for the University World Championships, and they were a great team. They've got some great players, and this format, having 16 teams, has allowed them to get another chance to be in the finals. And it's a bit of a surprise. I don't think anyone predicted them to be so strong against Kazakhstan, who were, I think, my favourites, sort of second favourites. I think Spain are my favourites, but I can't see anyone. I think Spain will go all out for this tournament, but Kazakhstan are my favourites. You've got to stick your neck out a little bit for these predictions. You can't just say Spain all the time, right?
I took Russia. I still have Russia doing it. I got Russia, Portugal in the final. Those are my picks. Who did you have in the final at the beginning of the tournament? You like Kazakhstan and you like Spain?
If it can happen, I haven't checked the crossovers, but Kazakhstan, Spain are my two favourites, and I think it'd be a good final, definitely. I'd like to see Portugal. I've always liked Portugal since Orlando Duarte was their coach. And
by the way, new Latvia head coach Orlando's taken over in Riga.
Yes, he has. Unfortunately, while I was in Poland, we didn't get to meet. But no, he's one of the top coaches in the world, and hopefully we'll see Latvia in the next Euro. So no, Slovenia, they're a team that's benefited from the extra places, and yeah, it's not a surprise. It's that part of the world, Croatia, Slovenia. It's a real hotbed of futsal, and they've got a good result, and they might get through this group. It wouldn't be a surprise now.
Well, everyone's even on 1 point. I mean, we got 4-4 in Kazakhstan, Slovenia. Let's move on to the second game, which was fantastic. I didn't think anything was going to be able to top that, but it was pretty even matched. Italy, former two-time champions in this tournament, missed the World Cup, and a big part of that is this team coached by none other than our good friend Mico Martic. And man, oh man, people were freaking out. I mean, immediately off the go. Did you watch the full game?
Yep.
It was a cracker, was it not?
It wasn't as good as the previous game. I mean, it had a lot of drama, as opposed to a lot of chances. I think both teams struggled to find space and struggled to create opportunities, but maybe that was the defensive winning out. But yeah, it was a great game, and it could have gone either way in the last few minutes there.
Yeah, I mean, the first goal opened up. It was we were talking about all these volleys. The corner was just blasted home. Opening minute, Mico Tervo from Finland was just absolutely insane. But my favorite part of the goal, besides just being an absolute cracker, was the camera briefly showed the Finnish bench, and you got to see Mico. His reaction, almost like he turned away in disgust. I'm like, you guys just scored, So Mico just never smiles. He's all business all the time on the court. Yeah. But it's the complete opposite when he's off the court. He's just a fun-loving guy with a wonderful smile. He's done so much for this game and marketing. I mean, if people don't know who Mico is, he is pretty much one of the two main guys behind Futsal Planet, along with Luca Ranocchiati. And Luca, if I pronounce your last name wrong, I'm so sorry, mate. But I'm working on that stuff. But we appreciate you guys is what we're trying to say with the Futsal Awards just coming out. And I think Luca was definitely looking for Italy in this match, despite him being partnered with Mico at Finland. And I mean, we saw Italy come back with Douglas Nicolati when he cut through the middle and he just made that blast. Question I have for you: the Italy goal to tie it up 1-1, was it bad defending or just a great play by Nicolati?
Bad goalkeeping, I think. Am I thinking of the right goal?
He came through the middle. It seemed like the defenders, at least to me, it seemed a little bit, they weren't as condensed as they could have been. And maybe the goalkeeper's positioning was out, but it was quite of a nice shot. I have to give credit to Nicolati for that.
I think Italy rely a lot on one-on-ones. You've got these great players that can do it. Merlin, it's him and Pani are unstoppable, even though you know what they're going to do most of the time. And they rely on that a lot. And I think Finland defended that very well. So that's why there wasn't a lot of space and there weren't many chances. There weren't any clear opportunities. But no, that equalising goal, I would be disappointed. And I would be disappointed in the goalkeeper. He's probably disappointed. It skims his hands, so but it was a good shot as well. The guy's cut through the middle. He's a left footer, or at least he's shot on his left foot. So the players perhaps should have cut off the middle a little bit more. But then I noticed as well, Finland were defending the lines, so they were leaving that open. So maybe it's bad defending tactically, or not following the instructions. But yeah, the goalkeeper maybe could have done a bit better as well.
Well, I mean, we spoke earlier. I mean, you have coaching experience all around the world, and you were part of the Solomon Islands coaching staff over at the World Cup. And I watched during a timeout during this game today with Finland and Italy, and I saw Mico speak during a timeout. He doesn't speak Finnish, and a lot of the guys don't speak English over there. And I'm curious, what's it like to have to use a translator as a coach to get your message across to players?
It's difficult. You can't express yourself as much as you'd like to. It isn't easy. I guess the Finnish guys will understand English a lot better than, say, the Polish players I had. And certainly the Spanish players I've worked with in the past, but then I speak Spanish, so that's okay. Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. But then again, futsal's simple. So coaching can be simple. so you can learn a few words, or you can simplify your message and get the point across. So, and then again, all the work's been done, will have been done on the training court. So coming to a match day, Mico will only have to say a few words to get his point across, and his assistants will help him there. And it's not easy, it's not ideal. I really would love to coach in my own language, and be able to get everything across that you want to, but no, you find a way. You definitely find a way, and there's other ways to communicate.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting thought. I was dying to ask you that question as I'm watching Mico talk to them. And I just came back from Helsinki myself, just before I went to the World Cup and ran into you in Lithuania. And their language is so distinctly different. People were telling me the only thing that's relatively similar is Hungarian, which kind of blew me away. So I have to look into the history of it. But Mico's been there for a while. Definitely his message is getting across. Finland is coming up very nicely in futsal. In fact, I think yesterday they just released the new marketing video that came out. They had their strategic plan released last week. Watch out for those northern climates. I'm from one in Canada. We have a long way to go over here, but it seems like those Scandinavian countries and Finland in particular starting to see the results and starting to put the investment back into the program, and it's showing when you take a point off Italy. So moving forward out there, we saw what happened. Italy went up 2-1. A brilliant control rolling sideways with his right foot was Dematos. Dematos is an absolute machine, and I think he's making a real name for himself out here. To anyone who's watched him, obviously with Italy knows. But his left foot, he just had this beautiful pass come to him. He rolled it out to the right and then just sniped it with the left. It was just a classic goal. There's too many goals of the tournament candidates that just came from these two games today. I don't even know where to go. Good luck whoever's voting on that. But then 10 seconds later, just as you thought that the air was taken out of the Finnish balloon, you had a second goal by Alamika Turvo, and it was just absolutely insane. But now 3-2, captain, 37-year-old Audio, with an absolute rocket from pretty much center court. Number one, are we calling it center court or center pitch? What do you prefer as a coach?
From the centre of the court, not centre court. That's Wimbledon. That's tennis.
I like it. Everyone keeps saying pitch all the time, and for me, it's like you're on a court, you're at the center. That shot, that thing was absolutely insane. That kind of reminded you almost of a Douglas Jr. shot out there with that blast. And for Finland to go up 3-2, it was absolutely fantastic. But of course, Italy being Italy, D'Amatos on the fly, great play by Italy. What was your take with all that back and forth, towards the second half? Because it certainly opened up. Give us your full take on that.
Well, let's go back to the goal by Kainan. It's D'Amatos, right? He's more, I think he's more commonly known as Kainan. He plays in Spain. We saw him close up in the Futsal Week that Mico organised. We actually played against Italy and Finland in our preparation for the World Cup. So this game was a really nice one for me to watch with Mico, a good friend, Massimo, a good friend, and having faced both these teams in the summer. But that goal by Kainan, people won't see that as a goal of tournament contender. Obviously you did, but that technique, that quick touch and shot, there's so many good goals today. It's hard to pick a goal of the day, but for me that was something else. And he could be one of the stars of this tournament. I like him a lot. But yeah, as you said, when Italy went up, it could have been too much for Finland. But knowing them personally and close up, and having played against them, and they don't let up. Finland do not give up, and that's we've seen that. They could have won it in the last second from the fly goalkeeper, defending the fly goalkeeper, couldn't they? It could have been 4-3 to them with a shot just wide, I think. And Italy are a team that have had a reset, so they're not a Spain or a Russia anymore. And we've seen over the years with the games that they've played against Finland, that they're probably about that level now and hoping to go up. And I think Italy probably will get back to where they were. But can Finland also get to that level? They keep surprising everybody. But yeah, it was a really good game, really even. not many chances until it sort of opened up with a fly goalkeeper at the end. And yeah, I think a draw is a fair result. Both teams are going to be disappointed because a win today would have given them a stronghold in the group. But I think a draw is a really fair result. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to see both these teams go through. I say Kazakhstan's my favourite for the tournament, but you know, I've got a few favourite teams, I guess. But it'd be nice to see them both go through. Italy for the history, Finland for what they're doing and what it means for the country and what it means for other countries in, you know, even England in the same sort of boat as Finland in terms of where we started. So yeah, it'd be nice to see them both go through. Excuse me.
No, it's fantastic. I mean, all teams in Group B tied on 1 point. I think this thing's wide open in a crapshoot. Slovenia really opened a lot of eyes today. And if I'm Finland and Italy, I'm not liking what I'm seeing one bit from how aggressive, how motivated they are. Even when they made the mistakes, it was like watching volleyball after a team loses a point and they're just motivating each other. Their spirit is high, and whatever the coaching staff is doing with Slovenia, keep it up out there. But I think we are going to see as the tournament progresses, it is only match day 1. And the best teams usually separate themselves as the tournament gets out there. And I certainly expect Kazakhstan still to finish top of this group. So moving forward, let's, first of all, we want to thank OTC on the court. If you're listening to this and you love futsal and you buy a coffee or a tea once a day, $2, $3, go and do yourself a favor and pick off on the court. Damon's actually in issue 3. I think it's what? £2.50, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's $2.50 for a copy, and too many people in futsal. They put this stuff out and it's free, which is great as well. But it's quality content, and it's only $2.50. I bought a couple of copies, so if someone wants a copy, then I'll send it. But no, it's not a lot of money. Yeah, go and get it. It's a really good analysis by a couple of English guys, actually. English-Spanish mix.
Tapia Owens brothers.
Yeah. It's fantastic work they've been doing for the game in England and for the international community, because there's very little content out there in English. It's growing. It's really growing. Shows like this and a few articles that I've shared, and then the OTC stuff. And obviously foreign people are now doing their stuff in English as well. So it's important for the growth of the game, I think, to get more English stuff out there. And yeah, the OTC is well worth reading. And there's 3 issues now, so two of them were free, and the Euro one they're charging for, but $2.50 for 3 episodes, 3 issues. It's a bargain.
So after the show, go to Instagram, go to Twitter, go to On the Court. 3 issues. First 2 are free, like Damon said. Issue 3, £2.50. I got every one of them. They're quality. The graphics, the designs, phenomenal. Make sure you follow them too. The Tapia Owens brothers. We're going to bring them on the show actually before this tournament's all said and done. Yeah. That's for sure. So now we talked about the games. We talked about how awesome OTC was. We talked about camera angles. Let's talk about some superstars. We're talking about building stars in futsal. Well, let's start promoting them. 35 years old. Missed the World Cup. It was a crime for new futsal fans to miss the magic of the man known as Babalu, a.k.a. Alex Merlim, Sporting Champions League winner. Everything this guy touches turns to gold. How good is this guy, Damon?
Oh, he's one of the best. One of the best. He doesn't get the plaudits of players like Ricardinho, because he's quite a simple player, but he does the simple stuff so well, and he's a leader. I said before, it's kind of obvious what he's going to do, but then he can go both ways. So he tends to cut in the middle from the left, but then if you defend that, then he goes down the other side and he can shoot with his left foot or set up a goal as well. So no, really, really good player. And just before I came on, I saw a picture of him with all his medals, and good players, bad players don't win that many medals. He's could be one of the best in the world. The awards haven't shown that yet, but it's a popularity contest at the end of the day. And like I said, he's not a flashy sort of player. He just does the stuff really well, and he can shoot. Not today so much, but
he had several shots, but it just seemed that the Finnish keeper was up to task today out there, and it seemed that more of his shots were coming from a little farther outside the area than what we're accustomed to seeing. I mean, in the Champions League, 6 games, he's got 3 goals and 8 assists over there. I mean, the guy's nuts. He doesn't go to the World Cup. This is what's crazy. He doesn't play in the World Cup and still finishes 3rd in the Futsal Awards. Like that says something else out there. I felt very bad for him for not being there. But I mean, the man's just absolutely clutch. And I mean, the other couple of guys we're talking about moving forward out there, I mean, Douglas Jr. instead. I mean, we want to talk about guys who excel over at Kairat. And I mean, everything about this guy, he's just been absolutely sensational. He's 33 years old, and he played, I think, more minutes. I think Andre Caro told me on our first episode that he played more minutes at the World Cup than anybody, scored 4 goals. Tell us about Douglas Jr. and just how special this guy is.
I think he's my favorite player to watch at the minute. Just the way he sort of caresses the ball, the way he's so calm, and he has this little pause in him all the time, and he can change at the last minute, and he can do everything. He's the reason why I didn't watch Tainan so much, because I'm always fixated on him and where he is on the pitch even when he's not got the ball. He's a player I'd love to see in Spain, and I think he was linked to Barcelona before he got his injury. He's had a couple of bad injuries towards the sort of latter end of his career, but in terms of watching the game, he's not a player that you're gonna watch and be attracted to futsal like the skillful players, the ones that do the crazy stuff and nutmegs and but he's a player that if you're a futsal fan, then you start to notice the things that he does, and you can really appreciate it. He's great to watch, and then he scored the volley today, and
what a crack!
He's a really complete player, very complete player, and I just love the way he plays. I love the sort of, he's got a weird technique. If you've never watched football, if you never watched futsal, and you watch him play, and you'd be like, what's he doing? Like he looks a bit weird. And a lot of futsal players have that sort of look about them that don't look like football players that we're used to. And he's just got this really elegant way of playing, I think.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely fantastic. And I mean, we talked about, him and Babalu and Tenan, and it's just that there's so many stars in this tournament. We need to build them more. Let me ask you, last question out there. You were in Lithuania. You remember what it was like when it was a timeout and you heard the tractor horn and everyone's going, what the heck is that horn? Have you listened to the horn in Amsterdam? It sounds like you're at a giant rave. And the one where you put up the thing in the air. Yeah. I love it. I think it was, our good buddy Riso over from Italy that was saying it really resembled the Dutch dance culture out there. What's it like in the arena? You have that vibe, the music, you have those horns, the sounds. I saw a futsal game where they had cheerleaders once, and I'm going, okay, this is like a little more North American, but it was super funky. What do you like in terms of what you've seen so far, from the production and outside the actual action itself?
Are there no cheerleaders in Holland? I'm a bit surprised.
I guess due to COVID, I can't imagine what they're going to cheerlead for.
Because it tends to, in Europe, it tends to happen. Like I've been to a few Champions League tournaments, and in timeouts and halftime, that certainly in Poland I went to, in Sweden, they had cheerleaders on the pitch, in every break and with music and making a spectacle of it. Obviously, with COVID, it's probably not so feasible at the moment. But what I don't like about these timeouts, they dim the lights, and I think as a coach that might be quite off-putting. But maybe they've got lights in the bench area. I don't know. They seem to be able to get the message across, and the lighting was okay, but the arena goes dim, doesn't it? So yeah, I picked up on that, but the coaches are getting the message across, and I like that I like that we can hear what they're saying. Obviously, and most of them won't be speaking English. I don't know if you caught Mico's faux pas during his timeout. He's not important. Fuck him. I'll send you the video later. It was quite funny, but no, it's really good that we can watch the timeouts, and even if you don't understand the language, you can kind of pick up what they're trying to get across, and then just from a spectacle, from a TV standpoint, it looks really good. You're involved. You can hear what the coach is saying, and from the TV side of things, it's got everything we need, I think.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, I always want to make this show 30 minutes, but when I got a guest who, brings the experience you do and brings the insight out there, I want to keep them for as long as possible. What do you have going on right now? I mean, I know your social media, you're active, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, thousands upon thousands of followers, but this big project that's coming up and it's gaining a lot of momentum from a lot of people. Tell us about the futsal camp project that you got going on right now.
Okay, so it's actually the 6th year that I'll have run the futsal camp, and it was born out of living in Spain and parents of the players I was coaching there asking me, Damon, where can we send our kid to do futsal in England? We want them to learn English, but we want them to do it while doing futsal. There's loads of football camps. There's loads of football and language camps over in clubs in England, but there was no futsal. So that's when the idea came about to set up a camp, a 2 to 3 week camp for, at the time, Spanish kids to come over to England, get immersed in the culture, play futsal, all in English, and do English classes, and stay with families, make friends, local players. And that's where the idea came about. And this year, we've had 2 years off because of COVID. So this year will be the 6th edition, but maybe it's 8 years since we started. And yeah, I'm really going big with this now because I've got time on my hands, and I think after COVID it's going to be required. It's going to be needed for people want to travel again, people want to get back to doing what they used to do. So yeah, it's a 2-week camp for foreign kids to come to England, learn English, and play futsal.
That's awesome. And where can people find out more information if they want to be involved and get on track with that?
My social media, which is there, or just Futsal Camp UK, across all social media channels and the website. So we're looking for any kids that want to learn English. I'm actually opening it up to this year to native speakers as well. And they'll, instead of the English classes, they'll do extra training or gym sessions or nutrition training, physical training. And that they'll get to mingle with the players that come from abroad, and the Spanish players that come. They've got a good level. We had a couple of players last time that went on to play for Barca under 18s. Not because of the camp, but they came to the camp and then they just signed for Barca. And we've had an intermovie star player at the camp before, and so if English speaking players want to come, then of course they'd be more than welcome. And obviously they won't do the English classes, but they get a great experience with top coaches and top players.
That's great. Well, Damon, thank you very much for joining us on episode 3 of Inside Futsal. Later down in the tournament, hopefully join us again.
Oh, of course. I'll be there and thereabouts every day, watching as much as I can.
I love it. Well, we'll definitely bring you back on before this tournament's finalized. Damon Shaw, check him out. You got the UK Futsal Camp, all the social media stuff. Make sure you check him out. And thanks for supporting us over here. We just launched the YouTube channel yesterday. You can watch episode 1, Andre from Kato Futsal, and number 2, the expert from the Ukraine, Artem of 5x5 Futsal. And I'll be here tomorrow talking about the big games that we have over in Group C, but we'll leave that for tomorrow. So, Damon, thanks for joining us, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your evening out in England.
You too. Good night.